So hello there and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be having a look at if the U.S. had a multi-party system. So yeah, and I'm going to explain these. Here we've got the Republicans, same Democrats, they both be the establishment, conservatives, be like sort of Ted Cruz, Trump type constitutionalists, it's in its name, socialists, again in its name, sort of Green Party, Labour Party, a Dixiecrat, which would be more conservative Democrats, Black Party, of course, promoting African American values. Hispanics, again, are promoting Hispanic values. Lavenders, sort of LGBTQ plus values. Feminists, again, feminist values. Christian values. Mormon values. Jewish values, and etc., and then libertarian values. So we're going to start off. So on the West Coast, I could see a California going to a Green sort of party candidate. And then gonna have a look at Oregon and Washington. So Washington, I could see going to so I'm gonna come back to that in a second. So Oregon, I would say since the vote splitting, I would give Oregon to actually no, I'm gonna give Washington to the Socialist Party. I think they'd be able to carry that. And Oregon, I think would stay in the Democratic column. Think they'd still be able to carry that. So Nevada, I'd say we'd be able to go to Hispanic. I'd say New Mexico would go to the Hispanic, and I'd say Arizona would go to Hispanic Party along with Hawaii and Alaska. I'd say would probably go to more of still go to the Republicans. Snow looking Montana, etc. I'd say Montana would go to a constitutionalist party, and I'd say sort of a conservative party would win a lot of the vote there. And I'd say the Mormons would definitely carry Utah. And Colorado, I could see going to I could see going to sort of Labour Party candidate kind of person. And now the Red Wall. We're gonna have a look at that, or what was the Red Wall. So definitely, I'd say all these would remain conservative, Kansas and Oklahoma, and I'd say that North Dakota would go to the Christian Party, and I'd say South Dakota would also go to the Christian Party. So now we're gonna have a look at Nebraska and their districts. So I'd say a conservative candidate would be able to win all of Nebraska's districts except for the second district, which the second district I could see going to a sort of Labour Party candidate. And now moving on to Texas, I think with the vote splitting, a lot going to the Republicans, the Conservatives and the Christian Party, and that vote splitting with the Republicans and Democrats and all the parties, I'd say the Hispanic Party would be able to carry Texas out by a very slim margin, though. So moving on here, I'd say you'd see Minnesota going to a sort of Labour Party, and then Iowa, I'd say would still be able to go to Conservative. Missouri, I'll leave for a second to come back to that. Arkansas, I'd still say would be able to go. Louisiana, I'd say the same. And to the Conservatives, Mississippi, and Georgia and South Carolina, I'd say would go to Black Party, and I'd actually change for Louisiana. I'd give Louisiana and Alabama to a Dixiecratic party, and Florida, again with the vote splitting, I could actually see Florida. I could see Florida going to sort of a Hispanic party. And then Tennessee, again, I'd say could go to a Dixiecrat party. Kentucky with Rand Paul from there as a libertarian, I think he could carry there. Missouri, again, the vote splitting, I think could go to the African American population there. And then Indiana, I'd say would go to conservative. West Virginia, again, going to conservative. Actually, no, Dixiecrats and Joe Manchin, I'd say that would go to them. Conservatives, I actually think we would be able to carry North Carolina. Then Virginia, I'd actually be quite stuck on this one, but Virginia I would give to a stuck between Green Party and Labour or Democrat. Whoops. So I'd actually say Virginia going to Labour Party. And the Rust Belt, I'd say would stay. Maybe I'd say Wisconsin, Michigan would go to sort of Labour candidates. Actually, I'll leave Michigan for now. And Pennsylvania and Ohio, I'd say would go. And now, actually, I would say that Michigan would go to a sort of Black Party because I think they'd be able to bring a lot of support out here, vote splitting. And Illinois, I'd say actually the same. I could see that going to a Black Party. So now moving on to New York, I could see New York going to sort of Catholic Party because I think this Catholic Party, in my opinion, this wouldn't be sort of be more of a Pope Francis kind of Catholic Party promoting um more progressive Catholic ideology instead of sort of a conservative Christian. And I could also see a lot of the Irish, Italian population and crystal vote splitting going there. Same with Massachusetts. So, and I could definitely see Vermont going to a socialist party. Rhode Island, I could see. Delaware, I would say would stay with Democratic establishment. I could see Maryland going, DC, going for a socialist party. New Jersey, I would actually say could go for. I'd say New Jersey would stay with the Democrats again. Connecticut, I'd say would stay with the Democrats, and New Hampshire, I would say would go to a conservative party, and Maine second district, I'd say would go to sort of conservative party, and um Maine as a state, I'd actually say would go socialist, and along with its first district, I would say would go socialist. So, yeah, here we come to look at the map, and I'm going to review it and maybe change a couple things. So, so far, this would give Hispanic Party and Labour Party in the lead, and you'd also have the Black Party in quite a big lead. And yeah, so I'm actually going to change my thing on New York. I'd say again, actually a little Catholic prominence there. I could actually see maybe a socialist party pulling New York off. I could definitely see that, and then yeah. So having a review so far, it's been now go with socialist, quite big prominence, but still not huge amount. So the parties which would have no electoral votes would be the Feminist Party, Lavender Party, and the Jewish Party. I just don't. I'd say they could do it a lot better locally and maybe state level. Federally, I just think a lot of um a lot of sort of Jewish feminist and part of well, which we would call lavender voting bloc would be in Socialist Party, Democratic Party, Labour Party, Green Party, maybe even Hispanic, Black, etc., etc. I just couldn't see them, sort of, unless you had sort of maybe Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden leading Catholic Party, or Bernie Sanders leading the Jewish Party, or Hillary Clinton leading the Feminist Party, or Pete Buttigieg leading the Lavender Party. But I'd say all of those candidates would be under different sort of groups. But yeah, this would, and yeah. So I'm gonna have a look at who I think the leaders of each or nominees for each of the parties would be. For the Republicans, I would say sort of more moderate Liz Cheney, John McCain type, would lead Republicans. Democrats, well, rest in peace, John McCain, but sort of maybe a similar candidate to him. Democrats, I would say, would probably be sort of Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden type, leading that more moderate. Conservatives, see Ted Cruz, Donald Trump type. Constitutionalists, you'd maybe see sort of a lot of independents, maybe more right-leaning independents voting for you. I wouldn't know who'd be the leader of that yet, but yeah. The socialists, Bernie Sanders, would say would be leading this. Maybe AOC, a Green Party, maybe even bit stuck on that one. Maybe someone, maybe a Al Gore type now. Thinking about it, a Labour sort of party candidate. You could maybe see sort of. You could actually maybe see a Joe Biden type leading this instead of what remains of the Democratic Party. Dixiecrats, you could see Joe Manchin leading this as Dixiecrats. Black Party, you could see maybe Barack Obama, Maxine Waters, Representative John Lewis, rest in peace. Can maybe see him. Hispanic Party, maybe Marco Rubio candidate. Again, even though he could rely on the Republicans and Conservatives, he could maybe go for a Hispanic party, or maybe but more realistically, I'd say Julian Castro, as a sort of son of Texas. The Lavenders, I wouldn't really know. Same with the Feminist Party. The Christian Party, you can maybe see Mike Pence. Could see a Mormon Party candidate being led by Mitt Romney. And we'd have, a lot of presence in Utah and maybe bordering states like Wyoming or Idaho. And then the Jewish Party, you could see, actually, I wouldn't really know who would lead this party. Maybe Michael Bloomberg, possibly. Maybe not. Really know. And they'd have, state presidents, local presidents as well in New York, Vermont, actually all over the country, I'd say. Then the Catholic Party, you could see being led by maybe Nancy Pelosi, possibly, or even Joe Biden if he wasn't, leading sort of the Labour Party. And then you would see the Libertarian Party I'd say be led by Rand Paul, who currently does have his candidates. I'd still say Rand Paul. Since breaking away, I think he'd probably join Libertarian Party. And yeah, so thank you for watching the video. I'll be doing a 2024 election talk part 3 or 4, I think. After this, I'll upload it later today, tonight, morning, wherever you are, anywhere over the world. So thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more.